Hey, welcome to Joe Knows South Lake. Obviously, we are not in our normal studio. Instead, as we like to do, we like to get out into the community. And I have my great friend, Kyle Caracciolo. Did I say it right?
It was a good try. There's only one person in South Lake who can say it right. That's Pat. So it's because we got the same name.
You get the same name. Look, don't feel bad. I mess up everybody's name. As a matter of fact, the last segment we did, I think I messed up that guy's name, and his name was Holman. Not Holman.
Holman, not
I put an L in it.
There's no L there?
There's no L there. So.
Oh, wow.
At any rate, we are out here at Lionheart Floors. And Lionheart Floors is Kyle's business. It's an amazing...
I got to correct you there. Kyle and his wife's business.
Kyle and his beautiful, beloved bride's wife's business, I should say. He and his wife are the co-founders of Lionheart Floors. Look, I met Kyle a couple of 3-4 months ago, didn't I?
No,
it's been a few months. It's been longer than that?
No, because you were here for my business after hours and stuff like that, and that was in June. So
it's been that was before I started doing the show.
Yeah, it's about 8 months.
So I've known Kyle for a little while. One of the things that's really cool about he and his wife, we actually kind of connected right away. There was something about the vibe they put off. For somehow they liked my vibe. And we really connected. And so I've been doing this show, and you guys know I usually do something real estate related on Thursdays. And part of what we do is cover people who do great jobs in helping people refurbish. But one of the cool things about Kyle and his wife is they're so involved in the community, not just their business, but their lives. You have 4 children now? 5?
Yes, 4 children.
4 children now. His wife would be with us, except she is at home taking care of all them little babies. He encouraged me, if he brought her here, we wouldn't get anything done because the little ones would be running all over the place. So good. We'll let her stay at home and watch online.
All we'd have is screaming children in the background.
Screaming children in the background. Yes. And I don't have the sound for that, right?
No.
So give us an idea, man. I mean, you're not from the area. We talked about this the other day.
I'm from New York, is where I was born, and grew up there, lived there, and military dad and all that. So we moved and did we were in New York, then we were in Virginia, then I lived in DC, Maryland area for a little bit, and then we all moved here to Florida because my family moved, and I was like, well, there's no point in staying there. There's nobody here for me.
So when you say your family, you mean your mom and dad, your aunts and uncles?
Mom, dad, sister, aunt, grandma, everybody's here. So we kind of they just migrated, and at that time I was already 20, so I was on my own, doing my own thing. But 20-year-old in Washington D.C., you get eaten alive. You get eaten alive if your family leaves.
That's right. Yeah,
I got nowhere to do my laundry, basically. So they said, hey, we're moving to Florida. You're welcome to move back in for a while till you get your feet, get on your feet, and so we did. And that's what we went with.
So you come here, obviously, because your family is here now, and you start slipping into the community. What were you doing for a living then?
When I first moved to Florida, I worked for a hot dog place, Hot Dog Heaven, I think it was called, and I made hot dogs. I was 20, and it was the only place hiring because I lived near UCF. And basically, getting a job near UCF is virtually impossible during school because everybody has the school job. So I got a job as a hot dog guy for a little while until I get a real job. And my dad has always been in the flooring industry. And when he moved here, he had planned on opening a business and going that route. So he was still working up north while we lived here. And so he would come flying back and forth. So I didn't really have, that steady job yet. And then finally he made the plunge and moved here. He opened his business and I worked with him.
So is that how you got into this industry, was working with him?
Yes. So I would be considered like a generational, if you will. He's been in the industry pretty much my entire life. So over 30 years he's been in the industry. And so I knew of the industry. I was interested in it, but 20, you don't know what you want to do.
Yeah. But you don't want to show up that early for work like Dad does.
Oh, that, and I also I wanted to find my own way. Like, I'll do my own thing. And then one summer, just got really tired of working at a hot dog place and whatnot. And my dad put me with a contractor and said, hey, learn everything there is to learn about the business. He will teach you everything. And so I spent a summer with him and I learned everything. And then he hired me full time and I learned everything, like not just the install, but then the business aspect of being a contractor, how to meet people, the networking aspect. I learned all of that.
How to find a customer.
Right, how to find the customer. And then my dad moved here and he opened his store, and I became pretty much his number one contractor for a long time, for about 10 years. And
so were you married then? Or
no,
was that after the fact?
I was not married, but I was, well, I guess somewhere in that time frame I got married, yeah. Because we've been together my wife and I have been together for 15 years, and I've been in Florida for 16.
Right,
Or I might have it wrong. It might be 16 years I've been in Florida and we've been together. Either way, I met her within the first 6 months of being here. And it's funny, I always tell people, when I saw her, she drove by to pick up her friend, and I was hanging out. I was at McDonald's, actually. And I saw her drive by, and in my mind, I was like, whoa, my wife just drove by me, joking around, because I was like, man, she's so, I got to figure out how to talk to this girl. And I was the cockiest. I was the biggest peacock you could find.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you needed me to be, I will be that. I just got to get your phone number so I can talk to you again. But, fast forward, it worked out.
Hey, I know that story, man. I mean, Miss Pat met a young Marine that knew I was a pickup artist, man. I was a ladies' man. And none of my stuff worked on her.
Yeah.
And I was like, how could this be happening, right? I think one of the reasons she was absolutely beautiful, but she's terribly intelligent. That really was melting my butter. She was so smart. But the fact that none of my stuff was working on her, that was irritating. It was.
Well, that's how
I had to chase her.
That's when you knew they were. You're like, okay, nothing's working on her. Yeah, you are smarter than me.
Yeah. Well, that's how I knew I had to keep her.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because she wasn't following it. So let me ask you this. We have, I'm just drawing a blank here. I'm sorry.
No.
Let's talk about your business.
Right.
Okay. So you came out here, you and your wife have taken the plunge. I know that you started your business out of cash. You've taken your plunge and you're here. You've been well received by the community. I know you're very active in the chamber. You're very active on social media. Give us an idea of some of what you do here.
So, on a day-to-day basis, Miss Bree will tell you I'm here very rarely. I come in and come out. If you want to see me in particular, it's best to text me. Let me know. But for the most part, I try to keep myself in, I guess the best way I can put it is in your mind's eye. I want you to see me, so when somebody says to you, hey, I need floors, or my friend needs floors, oh, talk to Kyle at Lionheart. And I don't want it to be a situation of I came in and salesmaned you into it. I want you to come in and be like, oh, that's my buddy Kyle, and he has a flooring company, and they'll hook you up with floors, kind of thing. That's how I wanted it to be.
It's so cool that you say that, because I've done that a couple of times with you. Is texted you or found out that I think I had somebody needed a backsplash, and that
Correct.
was really
We
kind
took
of
care of that.
Yeah, we took care of it. It was a very small job. I think the first question I asked you was, do you do small jobs like that, right? Because a lot of these guys out here, they don't want to talk to you if it's not a $10,000 job.
So the benefit to starting as the guy that pushed the broom for a contractor is that I fully understand the value of the little job, because the little job was the job that he explained to me. He said, yeah, you can get a 10,000 square foot job that pays you $50,000, $60,000 or whatever it is, and you bid on it and you win it, and it's great. It looks great in your portfolio. He said, but if you don't have all those little jobs along the way, you'll never be able to afford to do those big jobs. You'll never have all the right tools to do those big jobs. And every one of those little jobs that you do successfully, and the customer's happy and they love it, and they become your friend, and then they tell their friend, and so on and so forth. So I understand the value in putting a backsplash in for someone that doesn't really, it doesn't really pay anything for us. It's not something that we're chasing after backsplashes. But at the end of the day, doing those little jobs, they connect you to the people that you want to meet to be able to do the big jobs.
I think what so many contractors miss is the little job is important to the customer, or they wouldn't be looking to have it done. Okay, I have a friend that had a piece of marble on a counter, which was installed incorrectly by the builder. There was an overhang that wasn't properly supported, and after 8 months, it broke off.
Yep.
And they couldn't find anybody just to fix it. What they ended up having to do was cut it, and they had to do an adjustment, but it was so frustrating because they loved that little piece of counter. And they didn't want somebody to replace the entire piece,
Just fix that
but nobody
section.
would come in and fix this 2x2 section.
Right, because and one of the biggest fights with that is, as now on this side of it, I was the contractor and now I'm the person getting the contractors. Their logic is, well, I got to start my truck, that's gas, I got to go there, there's tolls, I got to eat because I'm going to lunch, and then they factor it all in, they're like, well, it's going to pay me less than what I'll spend.
So here's the best part of the story. The guy that came in and did the cut to make it look correct, that didn't give her a hard time, that was honest that he couldn't install or couldn't match her counter, but he could cut it and do it and make it look nice. 8 months after that, he was the guy that got the job for the entire refurbishment of her downstairs.
Yep, that's why I say
$80,000 job.
Yep, and that's why when somebody goes, hey, can you put in a backsplash for me? And I'm like, yeah, and it's a break-even project. We know it is, but we do it because later on down the line, that person's gonna go, I need all of my house redone, and the first person they're gonna remember is the guy that didn't tell them, yeah, I'll do your backsplash, but it's got to be this much to justify me coming out here.
Do you know, let's move on to the floors itself. You know, I know you do a lot of different projects. You have every surface available. I mean, people can see all the stone we have here. And this is actually stone. We tried to move this and determined we had to move the chairs and the table first. This is an idea, some of the patterns and some of the things you can do, how the products look. But you also you have every wood surface floor and all of it.
And anything that's not in the store, because obviously we're limited on space. We only got 2,000 plus square feet here. If you found it on Pinterest, we can find it.
Do you know, I just want to give people the idea that, you know, as opposed to there are other people in town that have been doing this for 45 years and, you know, they might be a little bit larger, so to speak, that you've been at this, what, 10, 15 years now?
I've been in the industry for 16 years actively. But I mean, like I said, I'm generational. My dad's been in this industry for over 30 years, so it's not something foreign to me. I've always been in this.
So you've seen the mistakes, how to correct them, how not to make the mistakes. But the other thing too is just because you're out here in Mascotte doesn't mean you can't handle, you know, an entire job. You recently did the city center in Claremont, didn't you?
Correct. Yeah, they had
a gorgeous job, by the way.
6,000 square feet there, and we can handle. I mean, we do jobs as big as 10,000 square feet or as small as, like you said, a backsplash and everything in between. As far as like our service area, I mean, I've done stuff. I just found out about, that's the benefit to my job that I love. I find new places in Florida all the time. Like I didn't know about Paisley. I didn't even know that place existed. They're like, yeah, meet me in Paisley. I'm like, what? And I drive through them like, oh, where am I?
A distinctive Lake County community.
But it's tiny. Like you hold your breath, you drive right through it.
It's got a sign that says Paisley, a distinctive Lake County community.
Yeah, you go right through it really quick if you don't know.
Don't blink.
And like, you know, Winter Haven, we were all the way out in Winter Haven doing a job. And, you know, I mean, I've done jobs in Okeechobee, Florida. If the job's big, we'll go out to Okeechobee, Florida and do it, of course.
But I think the cool thing is just like the city center, and I have mentioned it before, that's such a perfect example because you didn't go in there and say, oh, you need to redo all of this. Your first question, I've talked to the people that booked you to do that job. Your question was, what do you need it for?
Right.
What are you trying to do? You know, I mean, let me help you accomplish your goal before we talk about how much you need. You didn't need to do 20,000 square feet. They only really needed 6,000 square feet in their food service area, which is why the carpet on that side of the room was totally trash. Look, we move into time goes fast. What I'd like you to do is because we've talked about your flooring, and I want to encourage everybody, you have a website.
We have a website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and
you can see
everything.
All of their work. What you can't see on all of that is the stuff that Kyle and his wife do in the community. And I know there's a project. It's very important to you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and how it came about.
So that project, it came about because Mascotte, you know, it's a very small community, very small police department, and one of their officers reached out and said, hey, we're looking for help for an officer who was injured on duty. I don't know if anybody, hopefully you guys know about it. It was an officer who was injured in duty. His car rolled and he was ejected from the vehicle. He's got a beautiful family and a wife and little girls. And you know, yeah, the police department's going to do stuff for him and take care of him, but that guy protects us. So we should protect him when something bad happens. And that's one of the reasons why, like, we're so active in the community is that when bad things happen to us, you guys, you in particular, were there to be that person to put your hands on my shoulders and keep me pushing forward and say, hey man, it's okay, you'll make it. And so we were already wanting to be active in the community when we started the business, but that just made the drive even more. So February 1st, we are not hosting, but the city of Mascotte is.
You are hosting with them.
We're helping as best we can. And we're doing a silent auction. We're doing raffle tickets. We're going to be raffling a bunch of things from a bunch of businesses that have thrown things together to try to help this officer. And it's a breakfast benefit. It's $5 a plate. You come in and, you get breakfast, and then you can bid on items. You can put your, $2 in a raffle and try to win a $50 gift card or whatever it may be. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to try to get some bounce houses out there, and it's going to be a good time. And hopefully,
what's the date again?
February 1st.
And the time?
And the time will be 8 a.m. until everybody's fed or we run out of food.
I think this is such a great idea because it's a great way to support your local law enforcement.
Absolutely.
It's a great way to have fun. Is this one of the cool things about this community?
Yes.
Is we can find ways to support the things we need to support, but also provide a service for the community. It says an awful lot about your art. And just in full disclosure, Kyle, he just gave me a kudos, but the truth is, all I did was tell him the truth and pray for him a little bit. I give you a little encouragement, man.
But when you're in that spiral where you're like, man, things are going crazy, and there's a lot going on. You got medical issues happening, and then you got your business that you just started, and you're thinking, how in the world am I going to be able to handle all of this? And then someone goes, you got this, man. You're all right. And you have, it's a 5-minute conversation, but that moment, that 5 minutes.
Talked about this yesterday. Champions in your life.
Yes.
The guy that can look at you and go, man, dude, you can do this.
Yes.
You've done it before.
A little bit is all you
take. Or the
take.
guy that looks at you and says, stop whining, man. Look at all you have. Right?
Yep.
Look, I could go on with you for hours, man.
Yes, we have probably talked for hours.
we have. Every time I bump into him, we're going to talk for 5 minutes. Walking to our car, it's like now the sun is setting and we're getting cold. So I just want to say thank you so much for letting us come out here, man.
Anytime.
We'll have to come out again. Maybe I'll get you into the studio at some point.
Say the word.
Certainly, maybe we can come out and cover an event or two. I'll see if we can get out there. I don't want to make promises because I don't know what's on the schedule.
Well, it's February 1st, 8 a.m. You're welcome to come.
We'll see if we can get out and get some coverage. This has been great. Now, obviously, like Kyle is doing, there's greatness in you. And as Kyle and his wife are using their greatness to bring out the greatness in others, not only through their business, but through their lives, helping support things like this, you can use your greatness to bring out the greatness in others. Don't be afraid to touch a single life and thereby change the world. This has been Joe Knows South Lake. We're out here at Lionheart Floors. Look, if you need a floor, give Kyle a call. At the very least, check out his social media to see all the work that he's doing. I'm sure you've seen a couple of examples right here during the show. I want to say thank you very much. I will see you later, and I love you. Bye-bye.